Welcome everybody. We are super excited for this episode of Phanatics. We have Dave visiting or joining us for this episode. He runs the UK Phillies page. So, Dave, do you want to introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah, sure. Hi, I'm Dave Shaw from the UK Phillies. I've been running the account since 2017. Instagram, Twitter is sort of the main outputs I'm on. We've got a big Facebook group as well. And my main aim is to bring the fun side of the Phillies, try and grow the sport over here, and most importantly, grow the fan base and get the Phils connected all over the world.
Awesome stuff.
I love it. Yeah.
I just want to know, real quick, Madison. I just want to say I was so nervous about this podcast. I paced around like multiple times before I came to sit down.
Why?
Because I feel like you're really established in all the stuff that you've done, and I've been looking at your stuff for multiple years, it feels like. So it's just like this surreal moment in a way.
So I got a full circle.
I appreciate it, buddy.
Yeah.
But I'm just a normal guy. Like, literally, I work Monday to Friday, 8 till 5. The UK Philly stuff I do it feels like a part-time job at times. But honestly, it's what to everybody and to my friends and everyone who meets me. I'm just a normal guy. Got an everyday job and just love the Phils like everybody else and just love shouting about it, basically.
All right, Madison, you could start the questions.
All right. So our first question was, how fast has baseball grown in Europe?
I think in the UK, certainly, it's really taken off, helped by the London series. 2019, we had the Red Sox Yankees over here, and that gained massive momentum. Like, that got mainstream. It was 66,000 at both games, really well attended. People loved it, and the momentum was high. Then COVID hit and just wiped all that away, which was really frustrating for everybody. And last year, it sort of felt like it was starting again. Cubs and Cards came over. Great series, but it felt like a welcome back. You know, we're back. Hey, remember us, baseball. Since that series, things really taken off. We've had the World Baseball Classic, which Great Britain had an amazing tournament. Got to the knockouts, surprised everybody, including everybody over here. It went mainstream. People were talking about it over here. Like, we're a sports crazy nation, and if all of a sudden the country's doing well in something, well, then everyone turns into an expert and everyone jumps on board. It's that sort of craze that happens in any sport over here. So that really hit the papers, hit the BBC. It was massive. It blew it up. Then the Phils and Mets have been announced, and as good as last year's series was, this feels like a real rivalry. I'm not saying theirs is not a real rivalry, but this is the intensity of the rivalry. How well the Phils are doing. Baseball is really up and coming really quickly. The national leagues are growing quickly. There's new teams popping up all the time over here. More and more people are playing the sport. They're getting it into schools. They're following the NFL model, which is what's been so successful over here and growing the sport. Like, NFL is probably the second time most watched sport over here. Certainly number one in the US sport. They pack out the stadiums every time the games come over. It doesn't matter who it is. And MLB want to reach that level, and so far they're doing a really good job.
Awesome. Super cool to hear that they're continuing to grow too. So our next question is, why did you become a Phillies fan out of all teams?
By pure chance and coincidence. I often look back and think, because I was backpacking in the States at the time, I happened to be in Philly, fell in love with Philly. I often think, wow, if I'd gone to a game before I'd gone to the Phillies game and for the team, I wonder if I would have been rooting for that team. But by chance, I loved the city as soon as I got there for the first time. Fell in love, like a proper working class blue collar city. Reminded me of sort of where I'm from here as well. Sports crazy, which I'm sold straight away. And I got offered tickets to the game by the off chance. Didn't know anything about baseball at the time. This was back in 2012, so the Phils were still, the back of the 2011 season. Things were still hot. The place was packed. Got there for the first time, blown away, tailgating, having all the stadiums and experiencing it live in one complex, like nothing we have back here. Being able to walk around the ballpark is something we just can't do in stadiums here. The food was unbelievable. Being pretty well very before the game started on the beer and the fun that was happening. I was in a good place, so I was already invested. And Chase Utley's first game back of the season off injury, and the place is going crazy as soon as he gets to the plate. And I'm like, yeah, I can tell this guy's a big deal. At the time I was like, Chase Utley. Looking back, I'm like, what an idiot. But yeah, he hit a home run. It landed meters away from me in right field. The place goes crazy. I'm like, is he keeping that ball? is he allowed to do that? But I was so straight away, just seeing the reaction of people going crazy for Chase. And the game itself was a crazy game. I had someone explain the rules next to me. I was like, oh, this is not just about getting on base and trying to get around. There's so much to the sport that I didn't even realize, and everything that goes with it. And I was sold. And the Phils went on to lose that game, and it would be a sign of things to come for the next 10 years. But I was all in. I was hooked. I went home. I did my history on the Phillies, watched the 93 yearbook, the 2008 yearbook, 1980, got my history in and just kept going back every year since. And now Philly is a second home to me, and the Phillies is a massive part of my life.
Awesome.
Yeah, we love that. So this kind of goes along with my next question, but what is your favorite Phillies moment of all time? Was it that Chase Utley moment, or do you have something else in mind?
Actually, it's quite easy because the last 10 years before the playoffs, there wasn't that many highs. The Phils would more often lose when I was over. So the Chase Utley moment just lit the fire in me, for the Phillies and for baseball. Yeah. We got walked off twice to the Mets. The last teams I've been there. I was there for the Vince Velasquez crazy throw from outfield against the Dodgers. That's one of my highlights at the time.
That's a cool one.
Who was it against? Sorry, it was against. But Roman Quinn was pitching. Velasquez was in the outfield. That crazy time. Did the Angels come back? Oh, so I was in Philly when Girardi was sacked. So I was there for Girardi's last game and Topper's first game. And the sweep of the Angels, the Bryce Harper heroics as well in that game. That was awesome. But the Braves series, both NLDSs, the Hoskins bat spike will be, I think that will be hard to top for me ever. Just because I was a massive Reese fan, still am. And if the Phils weren't coming to London, I'd be at Citizens Bank Park this week to see that series, because Reese was a hero. I loved him. I followed him up through the minors. He was the first player to sort of properly follow through the minors all the way from being drafted to the majors. So seeing that bat spike in person and the place going crazy, and I sort of felt that come full circle. And then last year as well, the Braves series again, the Bryce Harper home run, just the whole electricity of the place, the vibes, the energy. I've been to so many sporting events in my life over here and in Europe, and nothing compared to much marketing and on the series.
Awesome. Zach, do you want to go to yours, because mine's kind of tied along with that too as well.
Yep. So one question I had was, how and why did you start your pages, and when, I guess?
Yeah, so 2017, when the Phils were just bad, stunk. And I was thinking, I cannot be the only person in the UK supporting the Phils going through this. I need to vent. There's got to be other fans that I can vent to, and we can get together and sort of have a place like a therapy of just venting and just getting it all out. And so I set up the Facebook group initially, and then went on to Twitter and found there was quite a lot of Philly fans over here, and from connecting with those guys to what it is now has just been incredible. It really has. Yeah, initially I just set it up to just reach out to other fans, and now it's an account to really, more than anything, grow the fan base over here and grow the sport and connect with Philly fans all over the world and live the moments together, the good times and the bad times, and the roller coaster this team puts through year on year.
Awesome. So I guess the next question we'd have for you was we all saw the sit down with Chase Utley in the back of that cab. How awesome was that? That was one of your first moments in a Philly stadium, was seeing him hit a home run. So how awesome was that to sit down and talk with him? Yeah,
I use the word a lot, but honestly, it was surreal and special. It was all very last minute at the time. I don't usually get nervous before interviews or things like that, but when that black cab pulled up, I was like, my heart was racing. But Chase was incredible. The moment I got in there with him, he's the man. He really was. He was very humble, very laid back, very open. We're in the back of the cab for 2-3 hours. We had to do several reshoots and different camera angles. There's a whole film crew in there as well. We had to go around different parts of London. And I was trying to take it in as much as possible and live in the moment as well, which was tough at times because I kept having to pinch myself at times. But he was amazing. The opportunity was incredible. And it felt like it had come full circle from, this was the man whose home run gave me my love for the Phillies and for the sport. And now I'm driving around London, back of a taxi with him, showing him the sights of London and talking about the Phillies coming to London. Honestly, incredible, and what a guy. Just a genuine, normal, humble guy who, I saw him at an event later on in the evening with a lot more fans, and he just has time for everybody, honestly does. He's that sort of guy that, he went out his way to make sure he spoke to everyone, did everyone's pictures and autographs, and honestly, just the nicest guy. And, what he's already done for the sport over here in the UK, bringing the Phillies and Mets over, being the ambassador he has been, is just good wonders as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I couldn't imagine what my reaction would be if I was in the back of that cab. I probably would be speechless.
Yeah, I try to play it cool, and you try not to fanboy at the same time. You try to play it cool. Chase, Chase, I'm doing Chase. Inside, I'm like doing cartwheels. I'm nervous. I'm like, this is a pinch moment the whole time. Getting to do the world champion thing to him as well was a highlight, a life highlight, I'd have to say. But yeah, it was hard not to fanboy and play it cool at times.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty funny. Like, my favorite moment at Citizens Bank Park was my first game, and it was a bottom of the 11th against the Padres back in, I forget, like 2006. He hit a walk-off home run. That was my first ever game at Citizens Bank Park. So, like you, I would be freaking out. But next question was, what do you think the Phillies fans and Mets fans, I guess, should expect from the Phillies and Mets series over in London?
Oh, man. It's going to be the best way I describe it is it's going to be a festival. That's what it is. It's amazing. It's going to be amazing. The weather's looking good. The forecasts are getting better, which was my biggest concern. We all know this series in general is always crazy. These games are crazy. The quirkiest thing happens. There can be chaotic games. So I think for the neutral as well, this is going to be a fun game. But there's so many events happening from all the way from the Thursday to the Monday after. The WIP guys are broadcasting live at Passyunk. Passyunk Avenue's got all 3 sites. Have got some big events going on. The Chicago Square Takeover is going to be huge. That's going to be incredible. It's going to be not just Phils and Mets fans and thousands of them as well. There's going to be fans from all teams there, from all over Europe. This is massive. You've got every team represented. Last year when I went as a neutral, I made it my aim to get a picture and a selfie with every person with another team's jersey on. And I managed to do all 30 and more because you've got the World Baseball Classic teams represented. It's got a massive international feel to it, and the atmosphere is incredible. Everyone's in this happy baseball bubble. You know, we're all there for the same reason. Talk baseball, you know, plenty of banter. Bring the energy. Citizens Bank Park has been incredible this year, and we're going to bring that same energy, that same passion to the game. I think this is going to be the loudest we've seen at London Series so far. It seems to me like the Phils fans are going to be pretty much all in one section behind the dugouts and the bullpens. The Mets fans sort of have the other end. So there's a little bit of unintended segregation this year, which I think is going to really help. Plenty of boos. Chase is going to get a good reception from Mets fans. He's going to get a great one from us. And it's just going to add to the whole spectacle. And, you know, it's not just the 2 games, which, let's be honest, we got to win them. You know, we got to take care of business. This is 2 big games for us. You know, every win matters. We're on this incredible streak right now. This incredible start of the season. The Mets are coming in with nothing to lose. But in fact, I'm a little bit fearful because they're coming away from the pressure of New York into the UK. They're the massive underdog. So I'm a little bit nervous about that side of things. But, you know, the whole razzmatazz of baseball is coming with this game as well. There's so much going on outside the stadium, inside the stadium, between innings. It's just... It's baseball times 10. You know, it really is, and it's the experience is going to be like no other.
Awesome.
Zach, before you start, I did want to say that Madison is having some serious technical issues, which seems to be a recurring theme today. I told her that she's good to just go, so it's just going to be us for the rest of the.
We're almost through it all anyway, so she made it through the thick of it. All right. So, is there anything special that you're doing leading up to the series, or maybe the day of, or you know?
Yeah, there's lots. Like I said at the start, I'm usually just a normal working Monday to Friday 8 till 5 guy. Now I've got a diary of pages and pages full of schedules and places I've got to be in and events we're putting on. And there's, you know, I'm going to be in London from the Wednesday, and it's going to be pretty much a lot of time passing on Avenue when I'm not at the stadium. The Brewers Phillies game will start early over here on the Wednesday, so we'll probably have a small watch party for that as a sort of a handover from when that game finishes, and then it's our turn. It's our turn to rock and roll. Right after this, I'm filming the final London Series pre-game vlogs.
Okay.
The big rundown. This is sort of a checklist, what to expect. You know, confirmation of a lot of things now that we haven't had before. So setting up the events Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, a massive at Passyunk. It's all go. There's a lot going on before the games. There's going to be, you know, I'm getting Stratford early, a few hours early, going around the pubs, the bars, chatting to fans, getting the vibe, doing a lot of recording, a lot of vlogs from the day, a lot of content. I'm going to try and capture everything. So for the people who can't be there, and then for the people who are there as well, something for them to watch back on. So it's going to be the craziest, busiest, mentalist 6 days I can ever imagine, but also probably going to be the most fun.
I was about to say you probably wouldn't wish it any other way, you know?
Absolutely not. You know, this is a once in a lifetime. You know, I've got some fun things I'll be announcing later on in the week on the socials, which I'm just tying up the loose ends of with the Phils and other things. That I'm very excited. And yeah, there's a lot of plans in place, which just probably a day or 2 before the series kicks off are going to be announced. So yeah, watch this space.
That's awesome. So you kind of already touched on my next question, but compared to like a football match, well, your football, not my football. What is the atmosphere like compared to being at like a Citizens Bank Park over being at a football match in England?
You know, like with the Phillies, it varies in how that team's doing. Like during the bleak years of the 10, you know, pre-2022, I went to the bank sometimes flying over and it was empty. You know, it was quiet. But you get that in football as well with teams that are struggling. You know, the atmosphere it's not good. You know, but comparing it to, you know, postseason, like I said before, I'd never experienced an atmosphere like it. And last October, I brought a friend out who isn't big into baseball, but the fact that I keep talking about it, he was fascinated. So he came along with me for the trip, and he's a big Liverpool fan and been to Liverpool games and other big sporting events. And he said, that atmosphere at Citizens Bank Park, it really is 3 hours of hell for the opposing team, but 3 hours of intense atmosphere, noise. Our ears were ringing at the end of the games. When you walk out of a concert, and your ears are still ringing. I've never experienced that. The chills I got from the Bryce Harper home run, the Reese home run, even the JT inside the Parker in 2022, memories that I'll never forget. And big soccer game, football games here. It gets loud. But it also depends how your team's doing as well. Whereas that postseason, it was just relentless, absolutely relentless. Even the Strider chant, Strider, that always sticks with me. I got goosebumps thinking about that as well, because that just echoed and reverberated round and round CBP, and it was rocking. The stands were absolutely rocking. Yeah, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about Citizens Bank Park. No atmosphere I've ever experienced compares to that. There's a lot of differences between the cultures of the sports and the game day feels. Like in football, you don't have tailgating. A standard football game, you would meet your friends down the pub, have a few beers, have some food, head to the stadium, watch the game, go home. Whereas baseball is very much, it's an all-day thing. You're there hours before the game starts, tailgating. Great way of meeting new fans, playing some games, but the best food, barbecue food, good beers. You've already had a real good time before you even get to the ball game. And, sometimes during the season, especially during the 2015-16 years, I was having a better time pre-game and post-game than I was watching.
I bet.
And that all comes as part of the experience. And also, I love the diversity of the fans that go. It's very much family, a lot more women, and a lot more... My friend pointed out as well, because over here with football, it's very much, I'd say, 80-20 men. And whereas baseball, it just seems to be split down the complete middle with the demographic. And he even said the same, that's refreshing. You don't realize that, and he made a good point, you don't realize how male dominated these games are of football at home until you come to somewhere like the baseball, where it's like it's friends hang out. It doesn't matter who you are, and everybody's wearing the Phil's P in one way or another. And it's just, again, that adds to the experience and to the uniqueness of baseball and an American sport to what we have over here.
Yeah, for somebody who's not a Philadelphia native or even a Pennsylvania native, there's always been something special about the city of Philadelphia and their sports that they have, because they're more passionate than any other fan base that I ever been to a sporting event around. So I definitely understand what you're saying when it comes to that. So there's something special about Philadelphia.
There really is. You even look now, CBP is packed on a Monday night, on a wet, cold Tuesday evening. You look around the Dodgers, the Braves, even the Yankees, their day games, they're empty. The Dodger Stadium, I saw one of their day games, half capacity, whereas CBP, when the Phils are rolling, it's gonna, I think we're gonna get sellouts for the rest of the year. This team is rolling. The love of the Phils is back. We've got, obviously we'll always have the passionate, hardcore fans like every team and sport fan base has, but we've got the casuals back. We've got the new fans on board, a lot of kids going to the games. It's just, the Phils are riding such a wave, and it's just showing again that this fan base, and look at the scenes last night with Harper's home run. That felt like a Red October game, when he hit that second decker into the second deck, the 2-run home run. The crowd was loud. People were going crazy. Nowhere else. And I know we're a bit biased, but I'm looking around. I'm trying to see that at LA. I'm trying to see that at Atlanta and New York. And I don't see it. There's nowhere like Philadelphia.
There's something special, man. Something special. So my next question is, do you have any plans going forward with UK Phillies and all of the stuff that you have going on?
Yeah, this is something I've thought about a lot, actually, because part of me at first thinks, oh, once the circus is out of town, well, now what do I do? But it's also a real important time, actually, because it's going to be the interest in baseball is going to be high. You know, you're going to have a lot of new fans there for the first time, a lot of potential new Philly fans jumping on board. And that's for me, is what I want. I want to get these new fans on board. I want to keep growing the account. I want to keep the content going. So if people are new to baseball, even looking for a team, you know, I post the fun stuff. You know, I want to attract to the new fans as well. And by doing that, by posting the big plays, the home runs, the vlogs, that captures people more than, you know, we stink, we lost. You know, other people do that on social media far better than I do, and then they can keep doing it. You know, if the Phils lose, I'll log off. You know, I'm in a bad mood. I don't want to vent that on social media. There's enough negativity on social media. I will just simply turn my phone off, go to sleep, wake up next morning. When we go again, we start fresh. You know, I try and stay on the positive side of things to grow the fan base over here, to attract new fans. And that's what I've got to do. I want to plan trips from the UK over to Philadelphia, and I've been talking with Philly Sports Trips as a partnership of getting packages for fans to come over and visit Philly and the Phillies. And there's all sorts, you know, a proper fan club. You know, we're already, as it is, all the UK and European-based fans, a lot of us are already in a chat group, which is great. Up to nearly 100 and ever growing, and that's a good way of also keeping us, you know, not only connected, but also forming friendships and getting quite a close group and community feel about it as well. It's just going to be growing it even more. You know, people are being here now. People are being for the first time, like I said. Time to capture them up and convert them into fully fledged Philly fans.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I can relate with the whole positivity. That was the reason why I started the Phanatics page on Facebook, because I didn't really use any other social medias at the time. And I made it just because I was so upset sitting in there watching other people talk bad about my team. It was just like, this is my team. Right. You're talking bad about them. And so I mean, it's just amazing how fast like the Phillies community can grow too, because I made really good friends with Zach. I met him literally just because of this. Like, it's just fantastic, like what you can do with social media and making new Philadelphia friends.
You're right. Yeah. You know, social media gets a bad rap, and sometimes rightfully so, but also a lot of good comes out of social media as well. And like I said, you know, when the Phils stink or play bad, you know, I feel it. You know, I'm in a bad mood. You know, I don't take the Phils losing very well, which is why I just turn off social media and I'm done with it. You know, I'll, you know, the classic, you know, good night and I'll see you tomorrow. You know, that's the meme. Keep it clean. But it's, you know, it's that from me as well. But, you know, the overreaction on Twitter sometimes makes me laugh, you know, and I take it with a pinch of salt. Everyone is, the one thing is everyone's passionate, you know, everyone cares, you know, and everyone takes it differently. And some really amuse me on social media. I'll sometimes going after a bad defeat just for a laugh more than anything else. And other people are saying it perfectly for me without me having to vent on social media, which is nice. And then when the Phils win, it's just great. And the role they're on this year, the wave is just been unbelievable. And, you know, really social media in harmony, just not used to it for this amount of time. And it's just a great time to be a fan.
After the Rockies and Giants series, we have a group chat with the Phanatics, and I was like, we're getting mad, but we have the best record in baseball still, so I don't really know what we're getting angry about.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think we'll ever be happy until we win the World Series. And even then, we'll probably find something to moan about.
Yep.
Well.
Exactly. Yep. All right,
That's
let
just
me...
the Philly fans' DNA.
Let me do the last question. So as we are growing forward with the Phanatics, do you have any advice for us for what we can do to start growing more?
Stay true to yourselves and to your identity. I think that's the biggest lesson I've learned, is that not everyone's going to like you. And you know, I had Jamie on, who's the Philly sports guy, recently on my show, and what he said was right. You know, you stay true to yourself. You're gaining followers because people like what you do, and not everyone will like what you do. Everyone has different styles and different ways of following sport and following the Phils. But you know, you guys yourselves are growing really well, and that's because people like what you do. And just stick to doing what you do well, and stay true to yourself. That's what I found that I've done. When I first started doing the vlogs and the videos a few years ago, I was very nervous. I'm like, oh, this takes off, but people hate it, you know. And I thought, well, F it, you know, this is my style. This is the way I want to grow the fan base over here. This is my way I want to do things, and it's taken off. And people love positivity, and people love passion, and people love talking about the Phillies, you know. And that's something that, you know, I can do till I'm blue in the face. At all times of the day and night. And I think in terms of content-wise, just vlogs, people like chat like this, shows like this, and just keep it real and keep it authentic. That's the best advice I could really offer.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you. I was super happy to have you on, and Zach set this all up, so thank you, Zach. Do you want to say where people can follow you and find you?
Yeah, sure. It's UK Phillies across the board, really, on Twitter, on Instagram. They're the two main ones. And then on Facebook, we have a big, well, like yourselves, really. And again, it's largely positive, like yourselves. You know, it's mainly UK based and Europe based. So you get crazy reaction while you guys are sleeping. A lot of our fans over here are waking up to it and reacting to it the next morning, which is the crazy way of how a lot of us follow the games. If we're not watching live, wake up in the morning, put the highlights on straight away, no spoilers, and then you're ready to start your day once you've got your Phil's fix over breakfast. Yeah, it's pretty much UK Phillies across the board.
All right, thank you so much for coming on. Hopefully, we could do this again sometime. Maybe when you're less busy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You know, and thanks for having me on. Like I said, I can talk London series and Phillies till I'm blue in the face. So I'm more than happy to do it. Thank you for having me on. And yeah, if you want me on to talk about the experience of London series or going ahead, you know, how it's all going, I'm more than happy to jump on.
Yeah, we'll reach back out after that. Thank you so much.
No problem at all. No worries.
All right, have a good one, man.
Thanks, man.
Nice one. Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Cheers.